Hey, there's an old phrase that says that you won, but you didn't really beat him. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. New Fatherboard Boxing here. I am a beginner boxer and boxing enthusiast, as well as your humble content creator. Lomachenko versus Devin Haney happened last night, and, well, let me just say that I was not disappointed at all in that fight. All 12 rounds, super high level, very skilled. This was boxing in its finest form, in my opinion. Both these guys came here to do exactly what they set out to do. There was no wasting time. There was barely any feel-out rounds. And what happened? Devin Haney walks away with a unanimous decision. Looking at the scorecards, two judges ruled at 115, 113, and one ruled at 116 to 112. Here's the way I scored it right here. Guys, listen, I watched this fight late last night. I was already pretty tired, I'll admit, but this is how I scored it. I think Devin Haney won this fight 115 to 113. He controlled a lot of earlier rounds. Lomachenko really didn't start to fire back as we know him to do so until about round 3, and then kind of continued to coast through rounds, downloading the information, using his footwork to get around. Of course, bright spots in those rounds. None of them were an absolute wash, but beyond round 8, that's where Lomachenko was really turning up. Rounds 8, 9, I think those are swing rounds. I think you could really have them go either way. I definitely think Devin Haney took the beginning rounds outside of the third round, and I think Lomachenko easily, decisively won 10 and 11 without a shadow of a doubt. And I got Devin Haney edging the 12th round, just barely enough to win the round, but not really do anything. So it kind of kept it from what I thought could have been the possibility for a draw. You got a young superstar in Devin Haney coming up, undisputed, multiple belts. You need to go into that ring and do a lot to convince these judges that you should take all those belts from this young superstar who's already proven him to all these other fighters. So while I am not necessarily happy with the decision, I do not think it was a robbery. I do think the judge who ruled it 116 to 112, you need to get investigated, dude. That was ridiculous. Referee, he did really good. He did really well. He was letting him work. He was communicating what he said was clean, what wasn't clean. He was very clear, during the pay-per-view, it actually showed him in the back talking to each locker room, kind of letting them know what he would and wouldn't allow. I think both fighters had their breakout moments. I think Lomachenko had more breakout moments, but the decision came down and it was unanimous. I don't think it should have been unanimous. Crowd reacted accordingly. I think you could tell that the feel in the room was that this shouldn't have been a unanimous win. And then you have other young superstars like Shakur Stevenson saying, hey, Loma won. That means a lot coming from him because, all the fight buildup coming into this fight, he had said that Haney was going to wash him, I think a lot of people doubted Lomachenko. It's a similar situation he's been in. He's always been the underdog. He's been doubted. Older guy that spent time in the Olympic side of things, then coming into the pro side. This is his 20th fight. It doesn't surprise me that people would doubt him, especially Devin Haney, who's really made something out of himself with the support of his father, Bill Haney, traveling to Mexico, working, doing everything you need to do. There's too many matches set up for the future right now. The possibility of Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. There's the possibility of whoever wins that fight to fight Tank next. There's a lot of this translation here. So there's a lot of fighters that are up and coming that have these impressive records that are ready to take the next step and face the best of the best. And right now, the best is Tank Davis. When we look at these fights, do we think Lomachenko or Devin Haney would have had a better chance against Tank? Think about it. Would this Lomachenko fighting Tank in a year and a half, most likely probably 14, 15 months, do you think he beats Tank in 14 months at 35 years old, soon to be 36 in that time frame? Doesn't happen. The money right now is with Devin Haney. That's why the judges were not swayed very easily. I think this should have been a majority decision. I think one judge, I thought one judge was going to give this to Loma and the other two were going to give it to Devin Haney, and it was going to be by slim margin, which, to be honest, not a clean win, even with the unanimous decision. This is not a clean win for Devin Haney. For someone who talked a lot about dirty fighters and, I noticed a lot of questionable shots in the clinch from Devin Haney, and he actually got warned multiple times about back of the head shots. I think what we saw, in addition to Devin Haney getting a little bit exhausted in the later rounds, is Devin Haney questioning his own ability, thinking that someone's a dirty fighter, maybe building it up in his head that they're a dirty fighter, and that he's going to try to do the same thing to him. And it didn't work out that way. You know, Lomachenko has a great, center of gravity. He's very stable, and he was able to throw Devin Haney wherever which way he wanted and take these shots and walk him down. And this is someone with a 6-inch reach disadvantage. We look at how close this fight was against, albeit a future Hall of Fame prospect. We look at this and we go, is this the guy that's going to beat Tank? Because Tank has 2.5 inches of reach on Lomachenko. So now we're closing that distance even further. Tank, also a body puncher. He took Ryan out with a body shot. We saw Devin Haney like to go to the body, but Loma was not really going to the body at all. He was head hunting, and he was using a lot of his feet movement to create those angles. Beautifully, I might add. Devin Haney looked flustered in some of these rounds. He looked like he was not able to keep up with the movement and the pace that Loma wanted to go. He started to abandon that jab that has been hyped up so much for him. He started resorting to the check hook because he knew that Loma was going to come in anyway. He also left his defenses open to the backhand from Loma. There's a lot of things here that Devin Haney is going to need to correct if he wants to go against someone who is more mobile, younger, and faster in Tank Davis, or a equally as qualified Shakur Stevenson. And I don't see it happening right now. There are rumors that Loma's team is appealing the decision. I think it's purely for posturing if they do that. I think, unfortunately, I think this is probably the most that Loma had to give in this fight. And I think the reality and what we saw backstage is the realization that he might not be able to give this kind of effort again. Kudos to both fighters. It takes a lot to go into that ring. And for people paying to watch the fight, we got exactly our money's worth. The card was great. The undercard was great. Much better than the Katie Taylor Carmen fight. That card was embarrassing for European boxers. I did not see any talent that I think could be remotely considered up and coming there. Anywho, I'll cover that in a different one. Let me know what you guys think, guys. Let me know what you thought about the fight. Do you think it was a robbery? Do you think it was scored fairly? Does Devin Haney stand a chance against Tank Davis in the future? Let me know what you think. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I do post my own boxing clips on here in the shorts. Go check those out. Let me know what you think. Tell me how bad I am at that. And yeah, guys, I'm done.